All right, so let's go into our scripts here from last time. And was it our game manager? Just open this. I don't remember who had the getting the headset positioned. Nope, not him.
Yeah.
All right, here it is. So this is in our inventory CS. So just for the sake of kind of keeping things separate here, let me create another script in here. Let's call this hands. All right, so in our inventory CS, this is where we're getting the position of the device, but you want the actual device. So I'm going to copy this guy here. Let me say using VRTK. Paste here. And the device we want, so devices dot left controller. All right, and this device finder thing, VRTK underscore device finder dot device transform is going to give us the position. Oh, no, not the position. This is going to give us the actual device, the transform of it. So I think this will work fine. So up here, I'm going to say private transform left controller, private transform right controller. And we'll say this dot left controller is equal to that guy. Steal this whole line. And then right controller is equal to that guy. So this should give me the actual transforms for those guys. Now I'm going to start them off as null up here. This was something that Smart Tim actually ran into at the hackathon. What? You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Point to him. Point. If you ever lost 9 weeks of work on a jump drive, you might not be smart, Tim.
Sergeant Tim?
That's actually from
yeah.
What's the jokes? That might be a redneck jokes.
Yeah, that's Foxworthy, I think.
Yeah. I like the other guy, Bill Engvall, with his here's your sign. So for stupid people. It wishes stupid people all wore a sign so I knew they were stupid. That's my favorite.
Actually, what was it?
What's what? Oh, he was in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of a trained killer.
That's Smart Tim, Specialist Tim.
Actually, Dumb Tim isn't as dumb as he acts. He's actually quite bright. It's a facade. All right. So in any case, we have our 2 controllers, but what I was pointing out here is SmartTim at the hackathon ran into a problem where you were getting the headset, right? And it wasn't a real value. And the problem is that on start here, we are asking the device finder to give us this device. In fact, actually, is it going to give it to us here, or do we have to? I think this happens asynchronously. So we can ask for it once, but we're not guaranteed to have it on the very first frame. And so let me show you that. I'm going to do system. Actually, not system. This is different language. So we'll do print left controller here. And that should print out the memory address for that guy. But we're going to see it's going to be null several times until it's not null. All right, so we can't just assume we immediately have it. We're going to have to operate, kind of like wait until it finally gets detected, because there's like kind of a ramp up period with VR while it's kind of finding all those different things. So I'll go ahead and launch this. All right, so we actually don't even need this. Let's move these around a little bit. I'm going to turn this off of maximize. So I think that's going to be our null reference there. Maybe we do need to keep asking for it. Try this one more time.
First, it doesn't exist. So you.
Right, but update's getting called a bunch of times. So in my.
If you ask for the headset and it doesn't exist, then it's not there.
Yeah. So I thought it was happening asynchronously. So I was thinking that this guy would keep waiting for it. It doesn't. So really we need to bring these lines of code down here and ask the question, if this dot left controller is equal to null. If I don't have the left controller yet, get me the left controller. If this dot right controller is equal to null, if I don't have that guy yet, get me the right controller.
Pick up the other one later.
Okay. You got power cables for both of them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just text me and let me know the scoop.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for the help.
No problem. Anytime.
Well, anytime will probably be soon when we put the other one up.
Let me know.
All right. Okay. So we'll do it in update. If you want to be a little more efficient, you can do it in fixed update, I suppose. So as long as my left controller doesn't have a value yet, I'll try to grab the value. And then after we finally get the value, let me just throw an else in here. Just to prove we have it. Okay, so now let's run this, and it's just going to keep trying until it finally has those things available.
after those things are available?
It's going to keep asking the question,
Right.
have I found those? But it's not going to,
So is there
oh, pretty funny actually, because, I didn't actually put this script on anything, right? We wrote this nice fancy script that's trying to grab the hands, and I just never actually attached it to a game object or any sort of thing that might use it.
They're trying to drive.
Yeah, I just don't even have them. It's not on. Exactly. All right, so let's put, it doesn't really matter what we put this on. Let's throw it on the cube. It's unimportant where we have it. So we'll just throw that on hands here. As the hand script. Just want to make sure that the script's getting run. Why isn't it getting run? So that's us trying to get the position of the head and update. And we put our inventory on the hands there, but our cube is in the scene, isn't it? Oh, the one thing, it's not in the scene. Ay, ay, ay. So you can just throw it on any object at all, except that one. There. Backpack is always in the scene. So that'll work. There's hands launched, and then here's the right controller. So we got in there. I never saw a left controller. Hands launched. Oh, there it is. Here's the left controller. All right. So it's finding both of them now. We have the transform for both of them. Let me jump into VR here and see if we're able to grab things. Oh my gosh, who had this on? Okay. Whoa. I dropped it. Oh, did I end up putting it into my inventory? So I just want to grab something, and then you want to be able to ask the question, can we, are we holding something?
Right. So, like, for example, if I wanted to have something play a sound when you grab it, I need to be able to ask, have I grabbed it?
What is that disappearing to? Let me take the printing out for that guy. Yeah, so that game object is getting destroyed. The thing I picked up. So we need to turn off our inventory here for a second. And that is on our... So I'm just going to turn off the inventory script on our left and our right controller. Oh, it looks like I only put it on my left controller?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just disabled that script on my left controller so we won't try to get that. Now I hopefully should be able to hold on to the thing now. That way I'll be able to successfully ask the question, do I have something? All right, so now I have something. So now we want to ask the question whether or not our hands are actually holding on to a cube. That's what. So you want to? Do you want to constantly check for this?
No, I'll probably check for it like on a button press or something.
Okay.
So like, check the grab button. Hasn't been pressed. Okay. It's been pressed. Am I holding this thing? Yes. Then play sound.
Okay. Now, are you going to know about the things that are grabbable in your scene?
Yeah.
All right. So, because really here we want to know, is this particular item, is that guy currently held? That's the question you want to ask, right? All right. So let me go into hands here. And we're going to say private, or public, sorry. Public game object, the item. And then let's go connect that guy up.
I think these like with this name down toolbar.
What do they have? What?
What is it with these developers making all the toolbar icons which look so similar?
Well, probably the size. The size has to be similar. But are you talking about like Slack and Unity look
Slack,
a lot alike?
Mail, all black, white, little
Yeah,
stickers.
I get what you mean. Now, just for the sake of, let's call it more correctness, I've currently put our hand script on our backpack. I'm going to take it out of there, and I'm going to actually put it on the left and the right controller. The script that's detecting the hands makes sense to put it on the hands, something like that. Doesn't have to be that way, but maybe makes... well, actually, you could do it maybe on the item itself. So let's say you have an item and you want to know if that item has been, if that item is being held. You might want to know it from the item's perspective.
Right.
That this will be better then. So I'm actually going to put it on the item. So here's that item, that whole grabbable thing. And I'll add component, and we're going to add the hand script to that. This guy right here that we created. And now I'm going to take out the public variable for the hand, because for the item, because it is that, it's this guy. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to take out these prints here. Actually, I'm going to leave the else in. I'm just not going to print in here, just to show the logic here. So if I'm in this else, that means the left controller exists. I have access to it. So I want to know whether or not the parent transform of, so I'm going to say this dot game object. This is the part where we're asking, is the item being held by one of the controllers?
Right.
So we're going to say if this dot game object dot parent, actually dot transform dot parent. So the this is the parent transform of this guy. So if we had it holding it being held in our hand, the transform would be the controller that's holding it. So we're going to say if that transforms parent is equal to this dot left controller, which is a transform, then we'll say print left controller is holding me. Something like that. We're going to ask a pretty similar question down here in the else. If it's equal to the right controller, then we'll say right controller is holding me. All right, we only say that while it's being held. So let's go back into VR now, and we'll pick it up with each of our controllers. And we should get outputs that say left or right controller, depending on who currently has it. All right. So right now it should say left controller has it. We'll check it. Does it? Can you see? And we'll check in a second. So now I'll let go of it. Then I'll grab it. Or do I not have the grab script on the right controller?
No, I'm just not quite touching it.
No, I don't have the grab script on there. So we should see that it's on the left controller. Never actually got the parent. Let me look at the, oh, I need to do that again. Because it's possible that who has it, the way the grabbable works, is not the actual controller. The controller might have a, all right, so here's the, what's in here? Let me grab something and then we'll find out who has it. Just have to keep holding on to it. All right. So here's the left controller. So that's the transform. And okay, that's not who has it. All right, it's called the left controller attach point. That is this guy's parent. Controller So where does that attach point come from? So you see that? So when I have an item, this is who currently has it. That's his parent's transform. So how do I get at that guy? So left controller. So when I dropped it, how do I get to that attach point? Let's grab this real quick. VRTK get controller attach point. Let's see if there's a function that'll let us. VRTK base grab attach. This tract is climbable. Base controller. All right, so here's the attach point for that guy. How do I get to that attach point? So is this guy actually a base controller, that transform we have? Let's see. So can I ask the question? SDK base controller, SDK base controller. And then this guy's going to give me that as an SDK. Is he cool with that? Not cool with that. All right. This is the thing we need to get. It is the attach point of it. Now I need the actual SDK controller. So here's the SDK manager. These are the scripts. Well, here's the device finder that we're already using. SDK base controller provides a bridge to SDK methods that deal with the input devices. Okay, but that guy is not a class we can directly use.
So apparently doesn't think back the logic event anymore?
Well, we're already doing that when we got like the trigger button.
Right.
But we have the transform for the controller, but what we need in order to, so if I go here to the base controller SDK, this guy down here, base controller. So this guy is an abstract class. So we don't, this isn't something that's actually implemented, it just has functions inside of it. So if I come here and I should be able to ask this guy, to give me the attach point for this particular controller. So this is the default point on the controller to attached grab object. So that's what I need to get, is that attach point. But it's unclear how you ask the controller. VRTK attach point, maybe? So all the grab attach scripts inherit from this guy. So let's go and look at here's in our hands. Here's the interact grab script. Oh, wait a minute. So this guy gets.
I just posted what I found on Slack.
Okay, I'll check here in a second. So if I look at this so the attach point is actually something that gets filled in. But is that something that gets filled in on runtime? Well, okay, so this isn't getting the controller itself. This is doing the same thing that we were doing before for getting the grab thing.
But it seems that interactable objects inherently know when they're grabbed as part of being interactable.
Yeah. That's great. So, I mean,
Just get that?
yeah, well, we can. This will solve the problem, but it doesn't solve the new problem of how do I get the attach point of the hand in case I want to use that for something else.
I see.
Yeah, so if I go ahead and I take this, let's see, this is going to be on the object itself, because that object needs to be an interactable object. Okay, I'll get this as well. That's going to be the function that it calls. And we'll go into our hand script here. So this .get component interactable object script, and if we go to that item that we put that guy on in here, we stop this from running. Here's our item. Here's that VRTK interactable object. So that script is on anything we want to be able to grab, right? So then back in here, we're saying get that script, and then we want to register an event handler associated with this guy being grabbed. So we're going to do a new interactable object event handler, and it's going to call this object grab thing here, and then it'll let us know that somebody has me. But we don't necessarily know who has him. We know that somebody has me. We might be interested in who actually, is it left hand, is it right hand? I mean, that might not be necessarily important for you, but it's important in general to kind of be able to tell that. So if you want to just see I'm grabbed here, we'll run this. Yeah, we can only do it with the left hand, right? So there's the thing right there that says I'm grabbed.
Right.
So it knows I have it now. All right. But now we need to know who has it, because we'd like to be able to say whether this is left or right hand. And in order to do that, we need to have the grab point. So, and we saw before that when I picked it up under item, it showed who had it. It's the grab point of the controller. It was the grab point of the left controller. So we need to be able to get that the attach point. So the controller has an attach point component, and that's a game object that these things actually get attached to. So if we can look at now that base controller thing that was on left controller.
I think the attach point spawns when you run it, because we did.
Well, that's fine. We still need to be able to ask for it. So they said that all these grab scripts, so VRTK, interact, grab, we need to go find that guy. He should inherit from the SDK base controller. So I'll go into VRTK. We'll go into scripts. We're going to go into probably controls. Nope, that's not the one. We'll go into the interactions. Object, controller, interact, grab. Let's go into that script. All right, and specifically, we are searching for actually, I can get it from okay, so here's the controller attach point is going to be a rigid body. So how does it find that? Let's look at other occurrences of it. So on awake, this is getting controller attach point. But where did controller attach point come from? So there's set controller attach point. Okay, so it's SDK base controller dot controller hand type VRTK device finder interact get controller hand interact touch game object. Oh, this guy says if there's no attach point that has been specified, just use the tip of the controller. So it's searching in that transform for a search path. And what does that search path look like? Here, we should be able to print it out. Let's go into our hand script here. And in this else, I should be able to say this dot left controller children So let's print this out first to see the number of children that the left controller has. Make sure that's more than 0. Because that's where that attach point should live. It should be a sub transform of the current transform. So this will just be for the left controller. Number of children is just 1. Okay, so let's see who that child is. It's still running. It is. Here's the left controller. But when we grab something, let me get the name of that guy again, because I think that's the search path. Come down here to our item. This is the guy we need. VRTK, AutoGen, left controller, original controller, attach point. Can I copy this whole thing? Okay, I think I have that copied. So we're looking for that guy. I have a feeling that's the search path for it. So we saw in this other thing, this interact grab, that we were searching for something. Current controller attach point. Who's calling that? So controller reference model transform. Is that something we can get? The controller is a transform. Dot find. We're looking for that. All right, so let's try to get the attach point by searching for the full path to it. See if that gives it to us. All right, nope, we get a null value. Why? All right, well, this guy did have a child, so can we print out the child? This dot, this dot left controller dot get child 0. That should, we saw that he has one child. So let's try to get that child and see what he is. Maybe we'll look out he is the attach point. Okay, he's the collider container. So that's this guy right here. And he has a sphere. All right, so that means that it's clear that this is who we have. This is the guy we're getting, and here's his one child. And his one child is an auto-gen guy, so it's somebody that we can get. Let's see if we can figure out where that. All right, so here is that's the base pointer stuff. So that's not where it lives. So does that attach point, maybe that's the issue. The attach point doesn't exist until we grab something. Oh. All right, so I have something now. So this guy does have an attach point, but that attach point doesn't exist anyplace else. So it might not be something we can get directly. So then we can go back to this guy up here where we got the interactable object. And let's see what other options there are. This dot get component VRTK interactable object dot oh, actually, let's see what we can do from the grab side of things, because he's going to be the guy that actually gets the thing created. So we can figure out when we've grabbed it, when we've ungrabbed it. Well, this might be kind of a stupid, well, here. Let me show you at least a fakesy way you can do it, figure out which hand grabbed it. We can get the distance between two things. So we have our two hands, we have the transforms of those two hands, and we can say, look, I know I've been grabbed. Okay. Who am I closer to? which hand am I closer to? That's the guy who grabbed me. And that might be good enough because you don't necessarily need the specific thing. You just need to be able to identify who picked you up.
Right.
Seems like that's something that really needs to be clear. But I think at the very least we've proven that that attach point does not exist until you've actually grabbed something.
Right.
The hope would be after it does exist, we can ask about it. But
well, certainly after it does exist, it has enough of a collider to crash the game and to try to change something about the non-existent renderer it has.
yeah. All right, so here's the I'm grabbed thing. So now let's ask the question. So we want to get the float distance to the left is equal to so it's a, let's say this dot transform dot position. I thought there was a function for calculating the distance between two things. I thought it was distance. Oh, I think it's this. It's a transform dot distance. Let me just look it up. Unity distance between 2 points. Vector 3 dot distance. So we want to get the vector 3 dot distance between 2 points. Which points? The this dot transform dot position and the this dot left controller dot position. And then we're going to have float distance to right is equal to vector 3 dot distance, this dot transform dot position, and this dot right controller dot position. And then we'll say if distance to left is less than distance to right, print left controller has me, else print right controller has me. Okay, and then back in here, let me go ahead and so my left controller currently has the interactable scripts. Let's add those same ones to, so we have interact grab, interact touch. The right controller does not have those. So here's our interact grab. And our interact touch. Okay, so now I should be able to grab with both the left and the right. All right, so I have it with the right hand. I have it with the left hand. I'm printing out too much crap there, I think. Hold on. Let me just run it again without those things. I'm doing some crappy printing in here. Printing out that child. Left, right. Yep, I'm grab, left controller has me, I'm grab, right controller has me. I have no idea whether that is the best solution to that problem or not, but it is a solution to that problem.
I think I did see like a way to get the game object of whatever grabbed it, but I'm not sure if that's the game object that we really want.
Actually, let me print something here. This might be pretty funny. So before I do that, I'm going to say, so let's do print this dot transform dot parent. Because that has been printing out as a string. I have a feeling that's going to say it's the grab point for the controller. And we might be able to convert that guy to a string and then ask who it is, because this is going to be the transform of, all right, let's just see it first. So my feeling is I'll grab with my left hand first. My feeling is it's going to say that the parent transform is the attach point for the left controller. The parent transform is the attach point for the right controller. But that's just going to be it's an object we can get if we can get the toString to it. All right, so left hand first, drop it. Right hand, drop it. Each time he should have printed out who his transform parent was.
Yeah, it's get grabbing object.
Oh no, it's null. So he doesn't have a transform parent.
Interesting.
But all right. I think he's going to have an anchor point though, so I think he's going to have a child. So let me print out this dot transform dot get child 0. Because that's how it was showing up in Unity, is that it was actually a child of the game object. Left, right. Yep. Here is left controller attach point for the left controller, and here's the right controller attach point for the right controller. So that is the So can we get those so that now we have the attach point,
Right.
but it's really the attach point's parent that we care about but the only way we can get the attach point right now is by having the parent.
Let's see if get grabbing object does give us the attach point.
Well, it won't matter. I mean, we have the attach point here. This is a transform. How do we even add? And let's say we have this guy. How do we ask, is that the left controller? I mean, we see it, you know, this is printing out like the 2-string version of it. If we're thinking about it from like a Java perspective, right? I mean, we can convert this guy to a string and parse through it, searching for left controller or searching for right controller. But how do we ask which controller is this guy attached to? So even if we have, I mean, we have the grab point now. Great, but what does it mean? Can we get more accurate than after we've been grabbed, which controller am I closest to? I mean, at the very least, it's a working solution.
Right.
So this solves the problem you need solved. Perhaps this is just the price you pay for the genericness of VRTK, where it works for all these different controllers. It's things just have to magically get detected at runtime, and then you lose the physicality of the controllers.
Right.
But I think that's okay, because what we could do here then.
Unless maybe they have tags that are specific to themselves. Because it has to be differentiating them in some way. If it's allowing you to grab it with the right and not the left, and the left and not the right, you know, in the interactable script, you know, as its settings you can change. So.
Well, yeah. Because under the hood, so like the way what's happening right now, when it launches, it's saying, okay, VRTK launches. What kind of headset do you have connected? I have an Oculus connected. Okay, so launch the Oculus SDK. Do all the stuff in this particular scene the Oculus way. So it's getting the Oculus's right controller, the Oculus's left controller, but sitting on top of that is the VRTK controllers, which map those guys. So we can make the assumption that we're dealing with the Oculus SDK, connect up the 2 Oculus controllers to our game. In fact, we might be able to actually do that anyways. Actually go into the Oculus controls. I have to look at that and then ask the question, what kind of system am I on? Am I on Steam or am I on Oculus? If I'm on Oculus, here's the controllers. If I'm on Steam, here's the controllers. Because it's doing it at a generic level at runtime, if we take this down, we have a Vive set up down there, this will still work as we have it written, because it's done the VRTK way.
Right.
I just don't know a better way of getting the controller. I mean, at the very least, what we've seen here is that the go-to move for knowing when something's happened is by registering for an event, right? So we're asking this interactable object to, you know, so this guy, we can know whether an interactable object was grabbed. And I want to see, let's look here. Let's turn this off. Go to our item. This is the item that's interactable. So the grab attach mechanic is whatever that is. So we would have to go into this VRTK interactable object script to see what events this guy. I mean, we could also just do it. Like we did before, where I just did the dot. It showed me all the events you can do. But if I look at the script here, does it tell me? Yeah, here's the events. So we know when the object is touched, when it's untouched, when it's grabbed, when it's ungrabbed. Okay, when it's being used, so that's going to be for some of their doors and stuff like that. Enter snap drop zone. I think that's like when you, if you have something else that has a certain script on it, it'll automatically snap to that guy and drop. So it like forces you to drop it, but drop it at a very specific place. Unsnap. Okay, so those are the things that that particular guy gives you access to. And I would assume those are going to be documented inside one of those documented things. But it seems like the go-to move for VRTK is to register for an event handler to find out when things happen. And that's kind of the move instead of being able to ask your own questions about who has what. You just say, let me know when something has occurred. And that's called the observer design pattern, which isn't a bad thing, but that's just the way you solve problems with VRTK, it appears. So what I'll do here, I'll just put that entire script on Slack. All right, so has an object been grabbed and by who? All right, so let's take a 10-minute break or so, walk around. Think if you have any more questions when we come back. Otherwise, we'll break into groups. We have this machine. We have the 2 machines in the next room. We have the Vive down there. So anybody who wants to work on their project on a VR setup, hopefully by next week, we'll have a second Vive setup. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 people in here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 machines now. We should have 5 next week, and maybe 6 after that. But in any case, maybe you can team up if you want to work on a certain mechanic on your project or something like that. And then I'll be available to walk around and that kind of stuff. But let's take 10, and then let me know if there's anything.